CliffCentral.com.
We're going to cry, laugh, and love. And we're going to do it together. The Life with Lebang podcast. Friendships, relationships, romantic relationships, ships in general. That's something that I want us to unpack and dive deeper and deeper and deeper into the concept of people ultimately being like sandpaper, because you cannot avoid some of these situations. Some of these situations are going to happen, and again, you decide how you respond to it. You're in charge of how it affects you. I'm trying this new thing where every morning when I wake up, I don't touch my phone for at least like an hour, because I'm spending a little bit too much time on my phone, and I think it's kind of starting to affect my creativity, and it's affecting how I relate to my kids. So I want to try this new thing. In fact, I started it yesterday, where I wake up in the morning, and unfortunately, like, I don't have like a clock next to my bed, so I can't just roll over and be like, okay, that's the time. I depend on my phone for the time. I depend on my phone for the date, all of that jazz. So what I'm trying to do is the first hour after I get up in the morning is to not have to even look at my phone. Be present in the moment. Breathe some of that good summer, kora to summer air in. Breathe it out. Be present, roll over, look at my kids, actually give them the full attention. I just think I'm losing touch a little bit of what it's like to be present in a moment. And a lot of people always say, screen time, limit the screen time. And when you go to bed before you sleep, don't have your phone in your face. And I completely would ignore it in the past, but I'm growing now, and I'm like, maybe I should try this, so I'll give you an update as I go, and, just to tell you how it's going. But it's definitely a challenge. I spend so much time on my phone that we spend a lot of time on our phones. We're just so engulfed in whatever other people are doing and other people's lives, and we get so affected by that. And that's cool, because that's going to happen. But how much of that can we control? How much of that can we put a handbrake up on and say, hey, actually, I'm not in the mood to read, a million bad negative tweets for the next hour. It's cool. I'm going to own this hour and just be present in this moment and enjoy my morning. So I'll give you an update on how that goes. I want to encourage you to try to do the same. Just for the first hour, just not be on your phone. If you can afford to not be on the phone, that is, then absolutely try that. You'll never know what can come out of that. And I think it's also just such a spiritual process to be able to do that. You may not agree, but I do think it's a spiritual process to be able to make that sacrifice away from your device, your phone or your laptop or your smartwatch or whatever it is, and just live in the moment, live in that time. It is spiritual. I find it to be a process. I find it to be an activity of trying to get back in touch with yourself whilst being, in these different experiences. So I want to talk a little bit about spirituality as a concept, because we all have our own ideas of what it is. We all experience spirituality differently on many different layers and on many different levels at different times of our lives. And so for me, I'm still on a very, very long-winded spiritual journey where I'm learning all these different things about what life is and what I've always known it to be. Growing up, and, disclaimer, these are my thoughts, these are my views, these are my opinions, this is Life with Lebang. Growing up, all I knew and all I was exposed to was the church. And that is it. There was nothing else that existed. There was nothing else that was real. Everything else was fake. And I'm very, very grateful that my mom went out of her way to teach me that, because when you're a kid, your mind wanders and you need some sort of direction. And so having that structure, every Sunday, put on your Sunday best. We're going to Sunday church. We're going to, it was a big thing. It was a big part of my week. Being a part of a family outside of my family, it was lovely. And then I grew up, And then I had to sort of make my own decisions about my personal spiritual journey and what I do and don't believe in. I've always believed in a higher power. I've always believed that there is a God for me. And so as I grew older, I was kind of faced with some sort of a crossroads where things are happening that I can't explain. I can't explain why certain things are happening. It doesn't make sense. I will scour the Bible. I will scour my leaders, and I will ask them to guide me and advise me, but they don't have the answers. And the nice thing about life is that you've got a choice. And so I made the choice to look at other avenues of spiritualities. And I was introduced to a concept of ancestors. And it's always such a personal thing. We all have ancestors, of which I've always known that, but I've never been taught that. I didn't learn it in school. I didn't necessarily learn it in my friendship circles. We didn't really talk about how you connect with your ancestors and really what the purpose of your ancestors are. And mind you, I am a Black South African woman. How dare I not know who my ancestors are? How dare I not have a connection with my ancestors? And so after growing up and, being on this journey, I kind of got to a place of which I still am on this journey, mind you. But I'm at this place where I want to explore and know more about who I am, about my family, my family's lineage, and really how these worlds can coexist for me. How is it that I can be so involved in the word and know the power of the Holy Spirit, and also combine my beliefs of the ancestral realm into that? How can I make that work? So these are some of the things that I want to unpack. These are some of the things that I want to challenge you to try and think about, because I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it with my chest. If you had said to me 5 years ago that there is more to life, there's something beyond the word, I would have said there's absolutely no way. There's no way. All my life, this is all I've known. But what is happening now is that we're being exposed to so many different things, different ways of living and different things and different ideas of believing. And you have a choice. You can decide what works for you and what doesn't. And being a South African woman, I thought it's even more important for me, because I've got 4 kids who I also want them to know their ancestral lineage and their background and how they can connect with their ancestors, and also combine that with whatever beliefs that they ultimately choose. Because one mistake that we make as parents sometimes is we try to shove our beliefs down our kids' throats, forgetting that at some point they're going to be able to make their own choices. So let's guide, our children, let's guide our friends, let's guide ourselves in discovering how best we can connect with the spiritual realm. I don't want to make it too, what's the word? I don't want to make it like about, what's that thing? Star signs and like most chakra. But for someone out there, that is a real thing. And so the purpose of this platform is to hear other people's experiences and invite other people who do light a candle at 11 every morning, who do, certain activities to get more in touch with their spiritual side. And again, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think it's fantastic that we now live in a time where it's actually in fashion. Thokoza gogo. I mean, I know people that were, in primary school were just like, people. Now, these people are knee deep in the journey, like knee deep. So let's give them an ear. Let's see what they have to say and how we can share all of our experiences. I actually saw yesterday a TikTok video where a child just had an ability to sort of see things that the naked eye wouldn't be able to see. And it's those sorts of scary things that, well, I use the word scary very loosely. It's not scary at all. It's reality. But, we're all in different parts of our journey. And I want to encourage you to, at least if you're interested in it, then try and begin the journey, because we all have a place where we come from. We're not here for no reason. If anything, I believe that we're part of the soil so much, the ground and the earth, we are one with it. But the how is now up to you. Take the time out to just ask, just ask your parents, like, yeah, so our surname, where's it from? You said grandpa and granddad came on a ship from Germany. Where did that ship from Germany come from? You at least want to be able to leave your kids with something, some sort of information. So I encourage you to do that because I think it's an important part of growth. I think it's also a big part of like soul searching, of which I'm going to get to in a moment. But as always, I'm not going to leave you just high and dry. I've given you a lot to think about, but I'm a big lover of music, and one South African group that I find myself listening to more often than I thought is The Soil. The Soil have a song called Unspoken Word, and if you've never heard it, give it a listen. Quite literally, as I said, human beings are a part of the soil, and we are one with the earth. It's Life with Lebang.
CliffCentral.com.
We're going to cry, laugh, and love. And we're going to do it together. The Life with Lebang podcast.